Today, the name IBM is synonymous with computers. But in the 1940s, the company showed little interest in these new machines. IBM seemed content to stay with the punched card tabulating equipment that it had pioneered at the turn of the century. For 50 years, IBM had grown rich on a technology that would soon be rendered obsolete by electronic computers. At first, they didn't recognize it. But when the Census Bureau, who used hundreds of IBM's tabulators, ordered their UNIVAC, one IBM vice president became alarmed, Tom Watson, Jr.
I'll never forget how I felt about the Eckert-Monkley contract in the Census Bureau. I felt a sense of great panic, and went back to New York City from Washington, and had a late-night conference saying, look, this is the beginning of the end for the IBM company unless we recognize it and do something about it.
Thomas Watson, Jr. knew that IBM could lose everything to computers. But nothing was done at IBM without his father's approval, and Mr. Watson Sr. saw no commercial future in these newfangled machines.
But when I'd say, well, look, Dad, if we don't take this business, somebody else will take it for us, because we're now being pushed by the market. We're market-driven. We're not driving the market. The market is driving us. We ought to try to get ahead of some stormy sessions getting there, but at the end of the road, he was agreeable.
When, in 1951, IBM finally took its first steps into the computer age, some 5 years after Eckert and Mauchly had begun building UNIVAC, it was with a scientific computer rather than a commercial one. However, the big new market wasn't in selling computers to scientists, but to businesses, and UNIVAC was slowly stealing away IBM's business customers. Within 2 years, the younger Watson had a free hand in the company. Thomas Watson Sr. finally stepped aside in favour of his son, who vowed to focus all his energy beating UNIVAC. And this was the inexpensive machine with which he launched his attack in 1953. Technologically, it seemed no match for the UNIVAC. Designed to run in conjunction with IBM's conventional punch card equipment, it was slow. But Watson had a secret weapon which would compensate for any crudeness in the technology. The IBM sales force his dad had left him. Thomas Watson Sr. had had a ferocious approach to sales and a superb understanding of salesmen. He rewarded them with high commissions, pushed them with quotas, inspired them with speeches, educated them in classrooms, and punished them if they didn't toe the line. And it worked.
Well, he expected at least the moon and perhaps the sun from his salesman. He wanted a good sales job, and he wanted a lot of orders because we grew with orders. And he also used to say, look, the salesman is the man who makes things happen in the United States. Nothing happens until something is sold. Then it's manufactured, it's delivered, it's used, but nothing happens. And so the salesman, in his mind, was a sort of an American hero, and perhaps very high on the list of American heroes.
It was these heroes of IBM who convinced hundreds of ordinary businessmen to buy IBM's 650 computer. Orders started pouring in. Within a year, IBM had sold almost 1,000 of them and soared past Remington Rand's UNIVAC to become the largest computer company in the world.